Welcome to our program. My name is David Nevins for Citybiz List, and today we continue with our series sponsored by the Bridge Alliance, which we call Fixing America's Broken Democracy. Not an easy task, but our guest today is attempting to do just that. And we welcome Arjun Moorthy, co-founder and CEO of the Factual News. Arjun, thank you for joining us.
Hi, David. Thank you very much for having me. I'm delighted to chat with you and excited for the conversation.
So Arjun, tell us a little bit about your background. You've done a number of different things, and then how that led to your starting the Factual News, otherwise I think known as the Factual. And you can share with our audience exactly what that is.
Sure. Yeah. So let's start with the Factual. We're a news service. We help people get unbiased news on pressing topics, typically trending in U.S. world business news. We have a transparent news ratings algorithm that helps people find the most credible, objective, and informative stories across thousands of sources across the political spectrum. And each day we curate and summarize the best stories we can find on trending topics, send it via a newsletter, an app, or a website. The way that I came about to this is a little bit of, I think, gross naivety and stupidity, maybe in some ways. To be completely honest, my background is I'm an engineer by training. And I've worked in a bunch of software companies, mostly young companies, startups. And most recently before this, I was at a company called HubSpot, which is a company in Boston. It's very well known. It's a fantastically run company. And I worked with the CEO there for 6 years, and I learned so much from him and everyone else. And I've always thought, well, I really want to apply this to my own business. I want to try my own hand at this. And I think if you ask any startup founder, the truth is there's a degree of arrogance that comes from all this. We think we know better. We're like, those guys are a bunch of idiots. I can do this better. And so you take the jump with an idea that you have. And for me, it was something about the news. I've always loved the news. In fact, as corny as it is, David, my very first job was a paper boy when I was 12 years old. And I kid you not, I fell in love with delivering the news. I just thought it was the coolest job. I knew all my customers. I was very happy to deliver rain, shine, or snow. I don't know, I thought it would be cool to do this again in some way, shape, or form. The news industry was really struggling around 2016. And I thought, boy, it would be great if I could do something for this industry, which I really love and I find so valuable. My co-founder also thought the same thing. He's a phenomenal guy, this guy named Arjun. And so we got together and we were just very, very naive. We knew nothing about the news business. We just thought, we're a bunch of engineers. We know some tech. Sure, we'll hack this. No problem. Give us a year. And boy, it has been a very interesting and very, very tough journey. But now we have a modicum of success. So yeah, we're getting there, but it's early.
So Arjun, I knew we had something in common, and my first job was as a paper boy too.
Oh.
So you noted you are delivering the news both or have delivered it both literally and figuratively, quite obviously. It strikes me that saying that you and your organization deliver unbiased news is something more easily said than done. I'm pretty sure if we were interviewing the head of ABC, CBS, NBC, et cetera, they would also say they deliver unbiased news. So with all the attention given over the last several years, we won't get political, but on and the term fake news now being in quite visible in the marketplace and so forth. Tell us really what the Factual. How do you accomplish this, and do others agree that you actually have figured out how to deliver the news in the most unbiased way?
Yes, definitely. The formula that we use is actually pretty simple, and is something that David, you and many of us probably did earlier in our lives. I think about my father, and he always had 2 or 3 newspapers delivered every day back in the 80s. And I asked him, I'm like, why do you get two or three? And he said, well, you never just trust one. You have to see a couple of different viewpoints on it. And that's basically it. That's the formula. Our fundamental thesis is every news source has some degree of bias, intended or not, because we're humans. We have a frame of reference. We have a set of stories we choose to report on. We have a set of people we interviewed for that story and some that we didn't interview. And so there's going to be some bias inherently in the selection of facts and stories that we decided on and how we frame the story. And what we're saying is on the big topics of the day, very difficult topics, typically political, business, stuff like that, you need to have more than one viewpoint if you really want to get more of the facts and understand the whole story. And what we do is we look for multiple viewpoints across the political spectrum. So from left, right, center, et cetera. But because they're not all the same. So, if you, for example, let's say you're the simple formula that some people try to do is they'll watch CNN and Fox and they'll say, hey, I got it, no problem. That's actually not a great formula because a lot of the times both those organizations put out quite opinionated news, fairly sometimes incendiary news. And instead what happens is you get angry and you really dig your heels into your point of view. But what we're saying is, let's not do that. Let's find really well-written articles, very well-researched, where the journalist is trying to be objective. Of course, they'll have some bias, but they're trying their best to really give you the facts and give you a lot of context and history. And if we get a couple of those from across the political spectrum, that's pretty good. You're going to start getting a better understanding because the journalists are trying to inform you. They're not trying to agitate you. And so our news ratings algorithm, that's what helps us find these really well-researched articles that are not very opinionated, that are written by topical experts, someone who writes on this topic over and over again, and maybe that's all they write about and writes for a reputable source. We weigh those 4 factors every day with this algorithm. It rates every article from 0 to 100%, and we rate 10,000 articles a day across a few hundred sites, group them by topic, and then find the best ones on the left and the right, et cetera, summarize them. And what our readers tell us is it first saves them a ton of time because they don't have to weed through the thousands of articles a day. The summaries are very useful, but it's really trying to give them, here's what happened, here are the facts, and then zoom out. Here's how all the dots connect. Here's some history and context, et cetera. So now you as the reader have the facts you need to draw your own conclusions. At its most basic level, we don't want to give you the conclusions. We assume the reader is smart enough to get there on their own if they're given the facts and an easy place to digest them.
So Arjun, it sounds wonderful. And how many people are taking advantage of this opportunity? I know you started the Factual not so long ago. And obviously the goal must be to get many people to read it in order to get to the point where people are getting the straight story, so to speak.
That's right. Yeah. So we have in the order of tens of thousands of people that read us every day. And notably, what we are doing is our business model is ad-free and a very affordable subscription. So if you think back to 30 years ago, many people may not know this, but half of all Americans paid for the news 30 years ago. We had something come to our doorstep and we paid. And it was a small amount. News wasn't that expensive back then. Our hypothesis is that Americans are quite willing to pay for the news. And when I say Americans, truth be told, I really mean all around the world. People are willing to pay for the news if it's useful and affordable. So don't waste my time. Don't give me pages and pages of junk just so that you can print more ads. And don't make it really expensive because I've got enough things in my life. And so what I'm really proud about is that we have subscribers in all 50 states in about 3,000 different zip codes. And we try to keep everything anonymous because we're not an ad system. We don't really care who you are. But periodically, we'll survey the base just to understand, or people leave comments on the daily discussions. And we've seen such a wide swath of the country reading us, from CEOs down to unemployed folks. We have pastors and ex-convicts. It's a real grab bag. And I think what it hopefully illustrates is that the desire for credible news at an affordable price cuts across all socioeconomic factors. It's just a simple need. We just want to be informed, and then we want to get on with our lives. And that's what we're here to do.
Well, I hope you're right. I mean, I think you would agree that a lot of the people who watch Fox, and the same would apply to people who watch NBC, for example, they don't necessarily think they're watching biased news, right? They're comfortable with what they're watching. So part of it is to for you to be successful, we also have to convince them essentially that they will be better off and get a more well-rounded education or picture by reading multiple sources, which you have gathered together on their behalf.
I think what's most fascinating, David, is that we see the news marketplace really catering to the extremes right now. If you're a diehard liberal or a diehard conservative, congratulations. You've got lots of sources that give you just what you want, and you come away going, yeah, I was right, and that guy was wrong. I always knew it. But we think the majority of the population is on neither extreme. We're kind of in the middle. We like a little bit of that platform. We like a little bit of this platform. We're not so sure about this. We're not so sure about that. And if you want to serve that audience, there's not a lot of good news options out there because news companies are all competing for attention. They're mostly ad driven. So they're saying, boy, I need to win so-and-so. How do I do that? There's thousands of other people trying to win them. So let me get even more extreme or incendiary or really cater to my base. I know my base likes to hear that so-and-so is an idiot. Well, I'm going to punch that out every day. And what happens is that the people in the middle, we're just like, wait, but I don't think that's true. I don't necessarily think he or she's an idiot. I just want to know what happened. What are the facts? And so that's where I think we have a real opportunity to serve this hugely overlooked market and give them just what they want and do it in a very simple way. Again, really respecting people's time. I don't want you to spend the whole day on news. 5-10 minutes, get what you need, and then get on your life. You got a lot of things to do.
Well, maybe more than 5 or 10 minutes, but I'll go with you on that. So Arjun, why don't you take advertising? Or is it your view that will somehow bias your coverage, the perception of your coverage in some way?
There's certainly some of that. I think people have come to associate advertising with, oh, well, you so-and-so advertised in your newsletter or your website. How could you possibly cover them fairly? But it's actually more that I think is not, it doesn't tend to hold true. I think a lot of newsrooms are pretty good about dividing, keeping advertisers out of editorial. I think the bigger issue is that if you're in an advertising business, you will intrinsically care about which headlines get the most clicks and views. You have to. That's the nature of the game. And what happens is you will inevitably goal seek towards headlines that are more sensational. You won't be able to help yourself. It's what pays the bills. And I don't want to do that. We have a whole world of that. That's the entire problem with social media and everything that's going on. So in our business, I don't even know what gets clicked. I mean, if I really dig into our analytics, I can find out, but I don't look at it. None of the editors look at it. We don't care. Did you or did you not click is irrelevant to me. We delivered what is trending and pressing, and we told you what's important. And provided you come back every day, day after day, we must have done something right. That's it. That's as far as I'm going to learn about you. I don't care what you click on. And I think that's very, very unusual in the news world today, that everyone else cares what you click on. Did you click? Did you share? How much? And I'm like, I don't really, whatever. Did you come back the next day? Great. We did something right. Let's keep doing that.
Good for you. Well, it does sound indeed like if more people read the Factual, that we would actually go a long way toward fixing this damaged democracy that we have. Arjun, share with our viewers as we close how they might either become a subscriber or reach out to you or visit your website just to learn more about the Factual.
Yeah, absolutely. Just go to thefactual.com, sign up for the newsletter or the app. There's a free 2-week trial. Nothing you need other than an email address. Sign up, try it out. If you like it, great. You'll pay $5 a month or $25 a year. So hopefully that's very affordable. And if not, you can also switch to the free plan. You automatically go to the free plan. Again, we want to keep the burden on you as minimal as we can be. If you want to contact me, I'm at Moorthy at The Factual. Drop me a line anytime. Find me on Twitter at JuiceMoorthy. Lots of different ways to find me. But hopefully this helps people be better informed. And our vision is, when you read The Factual, you're not suddenly going to go from a liberal to a conservative or vice versa. But I think you'll better understand why people might have different points of view. And ultimately, that's what our country is all about. We all have differences in ideas and opinions, but most of us are trying to get to the same point at the end. So if we understand our differences, but we realize, oh, you want to get there too? Great. All right, well, let's see where we can work together. That's basically how democracy works. We're going to have differences, but we're going to find ways to work together. I'm hoping that we play a small role in helping people find that.
Well, it seems like you may currently play a small role, but it seems like it's going to quickly be a growing role. Congratulations on what you're doing. And we certainly urge all of our viewers to check out the Factual. Arjun, thank you for being our guest today. Welcome again. And this has been David Nevins for Citybiz List as we continue with our series, again, on behalf of the Bridge Alliance, Fixing America's Broken Democracy. And Arjun, thanks again for joining us. Check out the Factual.
Thanks so much, David. Thank you, everyone.